Okay, that's one aspect of it. So just to go into a little bit of detail here, at the very beginning is the reflections, and the reflections are really important. It's possible to reflect before you've done anything at all. Yes. How do you see yourself at this point? What do you expect to get from this course? Where do you expect to be at the end of it? How does this fit into your general education, your general learning? It's possible to reflect on all those things. And what that first reflection, first maybe couple of weeks, gives you is the student speaking and writing, because you're doing this reflection both verbally, you're recording voices, and also written reflection. You ask them to do it that way, right? You get a baseline of how the student uses this language to communicate some complex issues without your involvement as a teacher and without the student having the pressure of assessment on them. Okay? That's your baseline. That's your ideal, right? So you want to go from there, from that baseline, and work out where the student's got to go. You can see the language, you can see the anxiety, you can see all those things. And you can work out how the student needs to go to make the kind of progress that you think the student should make, or the student thinks that he or she should make, okay? And so to ensure, you can see here there are two, there's set writing one, set speaking one, and then there's set writing two and set speaking two. These are important markers. Yeah? One is very early in the semester and the other one is very late. And these are controls. The reason for them is that as part of the portfolio, very early in the portfolio, there is some piece of work that involves writing, and there is some piece of work that involves speaking. And the student needs to understand that these two pieces of work will be assessed. It doesn't matter what it is, that you can make it whatever you want, and the student can come up with whatever they feel most comfortable with. But as long as it allows you to set down a marker at the beginning of where the student is under controlled and assessed conditions, okay, in both speaking and writing. And then later in the semester, you do the same, right? And these allow you to see, under controlled conditions, the students' progress and students' the patterns of work. I'm coming back to that in a moment for why this is so important for quality control. In the slide also, you will see the green line, and somewhere along the way in that green line, it climbs a little cliff, yes? That is an important point. Keep in mind, the student's learning is not linear, especially in portfolio work. The student's learning is not linear. It doesn't go from here and go in a straight line up to there. The student is involved in an exploration, in a personal growth. There will be a time when the student struggles and stuff's confusing and they don't know what the hell's going on, etc., and they may even object and they've got problems with it and they don't like you and all that kind of thing. And then suddenly, somewhere along the way, something happens, right? The student has a kind of epiphany in the portfolio, right? The student has some kind of epiphany. They get it. And beyond that point, everything changes. The student, you can sit back and watch and just enjoy it. It's so amazing to see when that happens. That student breakthrough point, and from then on, they coast to the end, and they don't want to stop. They don't want to stop. Yeah? You can say write 5 pages, they want to write 6. You say, that kind of thing happens, right? Okay. So now, the controls, I'm moving away from the slide a moment. The controls we have, if a student's work ends up at the end of the semester in the portfolio, there's some element that's down here, right? This is way out of, this is not the student. Like something went wrong there, okay? But this is where it's important to assess the whole portfolio and not one individual piece. You got 0 for this. Yeah. You know what this is checking, you know that's where the student is. You can talk to the student about it. You can talk to your colleagues about it. You can work out what you do about this. But the last thing you want to do is punish the student for this. Right? It's the portfolio as a whole that's important. Similarly, if something ends up way up there, right, and this is not the student, this doesn't make any sense. Okay, this is where you know something's gone wrong, okay? There's some kind of collusion, you need to check. Again, with your colleagues and with the student, what's going on here, and formulate response. Finally, defense. This is the point where the student stands before peers and you and defends the entire portfolio as a whole. That's where you get a chance to find contradictions, gaps, etc., 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 right? The portfolio is never corrected. It's never corrected. The students develops it on the basis of feedback. They decide which way they want to go with it. So I've got 4 minutes left or something, so let's move. I've already included that in the previous slide. So, assessors are humans too, you may be surprised to learn. Instead of assessing a portfolio on your own, far better is it to assess it with 2 other colleagues. Okay? So you and your 2 colleagues take all your portfolios together and the 3 of you plow through them. Now, the downside, it takes a long time. Okay? The upside is going to be fair. Right? And I know that it tends to be, oh no, let's leave that, let's leave that. Okay. Finally, also in this part, I want to suggest that one of your colleagues is somebody who's actually from outside, who wasn't a teacher on this course, but a teacher on a different course, right? But somebody also familiar with portfolios. Fresh pair of eyes. Okay, that really helps. So you have all your criteria, you have your rubrics, etc., etc. You know the students, you know the work, etc. The person with a fresh pair of eyes will come in with something that you hadn't thought about, that is just outside, okay? And you get a fairer assessment that way. That's it. Thank you for your patience. I'm happy for questions. Yeah. Or challenges.
Speakers. Okay, any questions? That would be.
I have a question. I have a great experience in portfolio. I tried twice and I experienced a lot of problems, all the principals, beginners experience. So could you share with us a good approach how to start a portfolio and how to explain it to the students?
My colleagues are...
Motivate them.
Sure. My colleagues might have their own suggestions as well, so I will offer mine. One of my slides you would have seen on one of the cogs, it said course content and student-centered. This is a trick that I play as somebody who's been alive a little bit longer than the students. I ask them to write down the one thing that interests and excites them the most about this discipline they're involved in. Let's say it's biology, for argument's sake, right? And we're doing the English for them. So what is it? What is it about the kind of thing that nobody needs to tell you, go and read this. Nobody needs to tell you, go and look at that. You do it whenever you get a moment, you're on YouTube, you're looking at videos about it, etc. It's in your blood. What is that? I get that from all the students. They write all of that down. Then I ask them to get together and group these in ways that they think relate to each other and form a team. So I'm interested in genetics, you're interested in microbiology, you're interested in whatever, and we get together, right? So once they have teams of 3, all buzzing with this thing that they are personally interested in, then they get a project. They need to devise some problem that exists in the world that all 3 of them together can solve. And then there's a lot of give and take and negotiation going on between them over what that, all of them of course wanted to be the kind of thing that I'm doing, right? But it has to be something that all of them need to work on together. So already the collaboration is built in, the interest is built in, the going back and doing more research because I really want to push my part is built in. And from that point on, basically they are demanding it from me.
So the portfolio is based on this problem solving?
Yes, yes, problem solving is something that, that drives them, not something that I've decided. I then slot in and run with that. Yeah. I don't know, I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Did you have a specific target group in mind?
No, I was just curious because I was just teaching at secondary school and it was a big fail. I had experience, so that's why I asked.
Thank you for your question. Over to you.
Trying to. We are thinking about using portfolios for this semester, especially, which is ahead because it's going to be at the best hybrid semester. And however, each speaker mentioned the amount of time and the amount of energy which has to be involved, which is involved, both from the teachers and from the students. And to be honest, teaching the students at the Faculty of Informatics, I'm afraid of not seeing this click. It's so difficult to sell an idea of this continuous work to them, because the traditional approach of having the final exam at the end and not doing anything during the semester is just so difficult.
If they knew at the beginning that there was going to be no examination of that kind at the end, that's part of it.
Well,
if that load is gone, now I'm going to be assessed on what I learn and how much I learn, but I'm setting the pace myself. Yeah.
My experience from the last semester, announcing at the beginning of the semester, there's no exam at the end. So what's the point? Why are we here?
I've got another, we're not using portfolios yet, but I would love to include them. And our reason why we want to do it is the oral assessment. We do little tests and we do students hand something in and we always assess the tasks like that. And I think that for the students and also for us, when you just know how many percentage, how you score. But I think that both for them and for me, it would be really great if they brought it as the final test. They just brought it and we would look at it and
give them the benefit of the final test if you want.
But look at the test, we would just talk about it, or for me to see the whole. And I teach students who are Erasmus or a year abroad or semester abroad. So for them, it's a cool souvenir. They also have it, it's something you can take home. And I wanted to approach it as a project. You will be, this is your project, or all semester project, you will put these little things there, and I will, at the end, I will associate and get a mark for this whole thing. So it's not that there's no point. There's quite a lot of pressure, because they have to do well throughout the semester, and we both see the progress. So I think it makes perfect sense.
But your point, this is right, but your point is a valid one about the uphill. What is the point of this? And the only understanding of assessment is you get this grade at the end for knowing these answers. That's all they knew. You can't blame them for that, right? That's the entire experience. So our hard work is that uphill. It's that uphill of getting to the point where the student has that epiphany, right? when that happens, and it has sometimes.
But there might be none, but you can tell them.
This is true. This is very
You
true.
didn't do anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So, were you going to say something?
Yes, but just finish this.
Okay.
Sorry to intrude, but there is the plenary in 4 minutes.
Okay. Is there some question from the online people?
Only Matthias says, portfolio could also be used for giving exams if there are carefully compiled rubrics, descriptors.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So thank you very much. Yeah. You're an inspiring teacher, speaker. Sorry, not teacher but speaker. I like your presentations. They are always something different, which I appreciate. Thank you very much.
May I still ask a question?
Yes.
What kind of advice do you give your students to keep only relevant pieces of work? Because just to make a comparison, I do pottery, and one of the most valuable pieces of advice I was given was, look at this. Do you want to look at this through the whole your life? Not through it out. So how do you do this?
Okay. Yeah. If I get a piece of work that's been done, the student's very precious. They put a lot of work into it, right? They're precious about what they've done. I will say, okay, this is great. Now your task is to cut this down by 50%. That's it. So now they are forced to throw away things.
But what criteria do they apply?
Sorry?
What criteria do they apply for?
This is not the issue. They have to do, all we want to know is that they are learning according to academic criteria. Right?